Wow, great film.
Thank you.
Is this film going to make me respect sports reporters? Because I don't want to.
You know, I always loved Jim McKay, who's in this movie. You know, and I was a huge sports fan growing up. I still am, I guess. But, some of my favorite people, sports reporters, so deal with it.
Okay, so, but you were acting along with real
doc footage.
Doc footage, because you mentioned Jim McKay. You actually are showing him in this pivotal moment in September 5th, 1972.
Yeah, I mean, actually, when they were first talking to me about doing the movie, and I saw the Jim McKay footage from that day, that was really one of the things that pushed me over the edge. It's like hearing, you know, your favorite actor is going to do it. I was like, my favorite commentator's going to do it.
What drew you to the film besides that? Because we've had a movie about, you know, Munich. We've had a movie about that event. We've had a lot of
great documentary. There's Visions of 8, Day in September. I think it was the point of view. In some ways, it was almost like a submarine movie or something to me. All these guys in front of controls, and the periscope is the camera. And I think the live camera, the birth of the live camera, turning it from sports, which is what it was kind of meant for, and then turning it onto this hostage crisis, and now we have this rolling 24-hour coverage that's live, and I don't think it's been a great thing. So I think this is sort of the dawn of something that we kind of need to think about. A lot of the issues that are in the film from 1972 are still the same issues we need to be thinking about. That
blew me away, how relevant so much of the journalistic stuff. I mean, now I can go live right now on this. Boom. By the way, I'm live right now. No. And the amount of respect that was given to live in 1972 because it hadn't been done before?
Yeah, I mean, you know, what is it to have live news coverage? Why is that good?
Right.
Is, you know, having your face right up to something like this and make it more understandable? In some ways, they had this new toy. Which, you know, Roone Arledge, who I play, was known for really making the best seat for the sporting event be at home in your living room. You were going to know more, you were going to see more, you were going to have the background story, you had the on-field camera. But is that really important for like a hostage crisis or a school shooting or something like that? Why do we do that? You know,
it's so true now with sports, where I go, you know, I'd rather sit at home. I'm going to get the speed of the ball. I'm going to see the revolutions, but I don't know if I'm a better person for that necessarily. And maybe in sport it's perfect because the stakes are low.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is at first, you know, with Roone and all these ideas, they were afraid that they weren't going to be able to sell tickets. They didn't want the best seat to be at home. It didn't stop people from going to see it live.
The attention to detail in this film. Shooting a TV show 50 years ago, I mean, it's real tape. It's film. And then they had to do the graphics, you know, and they're actually like putting typeface. It blew me away.
Yeah, and the way that they slow down the film to do the, you know.
Is that real? Was that bullshit?
No, that's the way they did it.
Slow motion was a guy who just moved his hands slower.
Well, we had our director, Tim Feldbaum, was just obsessive. When I met him, he was showing, I remember one of the first things he did is he said, I'm thinking you'll shave at some point in the film. Look at this period correct shaver that I have. And I was like, this guy's clearly meant to do this. It's very helpful to have all of that real stuff in front of you. A lot of times, you know, speaking of submarine movies, I've done submarine movies where it was like, it looks really cool if you flick this thing and pull this thing this way and then go like that. And you're like, what does that do? We have no idea. None of this is real. But Tim would say, first you have to hit this, then you have to point at that, then he's going to flick this thing. It was all accurate.
That's the control room, and your character is pretty much in his office or control room the entire time. What was it shot over many, many days, obviously, but I mean, that was... felt claustrophobic, almost like a submarine movie, but I guess that was the intended purpose.
We're filming in Munich at Bavaria Studios, and technically they should be able to make, we're on a soundstage, so they should be able to make the walls fly away. And you should, but he didn't want that. He wanted it to feel very tight. We had 2 cameras, 3 people on each camera, maybe 8 actors in the room. It's hot, it's smelly, it's smoky, it's... but I guess that's the way it was. He was very into making us uncomfortable.
it comes across, and it's very entertaining to watch. And I thought, holy shit, I want to make TV in 1972, but instead I make it in 2024, and I'm a piece of shit. And, I wish I could be in 1972. Sports journalists, to me, it's just, what do you do in the second half, coach?
Yeah.
And I was watching this thinking, wow, these sports journalists handled real journalism so well. And it made me think, if ESPN Plus could pull this off today, if we have, there's so many channels, could they handle a hostage crisis so eloquently? Jim McKay looked like he was meant for it.
Well, it was a different time. I mean, these guys were real storytellers. That was the thing. And they were, what happened at this moment, because Roone went on to do news. He was head of
which
news
is fascinating too,
And he actually did news and sports at the same time at one point. And so this idea of making sports entertaining for even people who don't follow sports.
Right.
Like my Aunt Mary would watch the Olympics. She never watched anything else sports related, but the Olympics was like, we learn he came from Nebraska. He's shooting hoops in his backyard. She's weeping after he does.
Her father slipped on the steps when she was in 8th grade. Yeah,
right, but then he took that into news, and now we do have news that, tries to be entertaining, tries to compete with other news
I don't know
stations.
what you're talking about.
And for better or worse, we need tidy endings and beginnings, middles, and ends. And I think that's
live audiences
become a problem.
And audience warm-up guys. I don't know. I mean, are we better for this? I don't know.
I think what's good for you is that you acknowledge that you are both. It's the illusion that they are the other stations that we won't talk about.
Man, you've played so many wonderful characters that I love. The Apple Show, Presumed Innocent. You played the kind of dickhead lawyer. You played a serial killer in Boys Don't Cry. You were the villain in Green Lantern. You had this enormous forehead. Do we have a picture of this green? I mean, what? I'm sorry. You've played so many characters, but this costume. How did you lose the forehead weight? Or how did you gain the forehead weight?
I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't know about the prosthetics until after I said yes.
Right.
I actually arrived on set and they were like, oh, and you're going to go meet the prosthetics team. And I was like, oh, what prosthetics? Right. And then they went.
That is crazy.
And it was New Orleans and it was summer.
Man. Yeah.
Which is why in many scenes in that movie, I'm not wearing trousers because it's from here up. Yeah. That's the secret, actually, to that guy.
Don't wear trousers.
No.
I should try that here. Do you like playing bad boys? Peter.
Sorry.
I stood up.
Do I like playing bad boys?
Was he trying to look at my dick? Peter, are you a bad boy, Peter?
I don't like the responsibility of playing a good boy, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't believe in them. Whenever I've met them in my life, I think they have some ulterior motive.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the honesty of somebody that just wears their sins on their sleeve.
Yeah. You know comedians that are always like, I'm clean. They're always the most f***ed up.
Blah.
Yeah. So true. Look, this film is excellent.
Thank you.
It's nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture Drama. It's going to get even more. September 5 is in select theaters starting December 13th. It will be nationwide on January 17th. Peter Sarsgaard.